Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for joining. My name is Nikisha Martinez, and I am the Clinical Talent Acquisition Manager at Tufts Medical Center. I will be your moderator today for your webinar entitled Career Opportunities Post-Pandemic, Exploring the Healthcare Field. We will highlight entry-level healthcare opportunities such as medical assistants, clinical care technicians, and the Pharmacy Technician Development Program. All of our positions can be found online at jobs.tuftsmedicalcenter.org. If at any time during the webinar you have a question, kindly submit it through the Q&A box. Our first presenter is Gina Marie Russo. Gina is the Professional Development Director for our ambulatory administrative areas at Tufts Medical Center, and we'll discuss the MAP at Tufts MC. Welcome, Gina.
Thank you, Nikisha. Welcome, everyone, and thank you for taking the time to join us today. I'm excited to tell you a little bit about our medical assistant program called MAP at Tufts MC. The program was redesigned from a previous ladder to expand our growth opportunities for medical assistants here at the hospital. We continually are looking for ways to improve our program that promotes role satisfaction and engagement throughout the ambulatory setting. MAP is comprised of 3 separate programs that all feed into one another. They are the MA Extern, the MA Lattice, and the MA Residency Program. Next slide. The MA Extern program was restarted in October when things began to slow down around the pandemic. This program is geared towards individuals that are currently enrolled in a medical assistant program and need their clinical hands-on experience to complete their program. Tufts has reestablished relationships with multiple local medical assistant programs throughout the local Boston area and are currently taking 20 externs per month into our ambulatory settings. These externs get placed in one of our 70+ clinics here at the hospital, or more recently, we've started placing them in our satellites. They are assigned a preceptor that oversees their experience, so they get one-to-one attention. Next slide. The MAs that are with us for their externship oftentimes end up staying and becoming a permanent member of our staff. Since October, we've hosted over 150 externs here at the hospital, and we have hired 42 of them into open positions. This fabulous group of medical assistants pictured here have been with me in the COVID clinics doing testing and helping with the vaccine administration. We would not have been able to run these clinics without our medical assistants. Some have recently left the COVID clinics and are now moving forward into their career path in our ambulatory clinics throughout the hospital. The next program is the MA Lattice program. This program is geared towards our current medical assistants employed here. It offers a flexible career path with opportunities that support personal and professional growth through skill and leadership development. The Lattice framework allows the individual MA to choose how they want to become engaged in the path that is best for them. While not required, we do encourage and support our medical assistants to obtain their national certification, as you can see here on the Lattice. All MAs are trained in a standardized skill set, and then it gets expanded as they enter into the variety of ambulatory clinics. We promote leadership development through precepting, becoming a quality champion, joining the MA Council, or becoming a lead MA. The enrichment program supports certification in several areas, including medical interpreting, endoscopy tech, and phlebotomy. Opportunities will continue to grow on the Lattice as the program continues to be developed. Once again, I can't stress enough how integral members of the care team our medical assistants here are at the hospital. This is our COVID clinic team. And just to let you see how important they are, 50% of the team that staffed our COVID clinic were comprised of medical assistants. And lastly, coming this fall is the MA Residency Program. This is a brand new program for Tufts in the ambulatory setting. This is specifically for individuals that have currently received a bachelor's in another field and are looking to gain clinical hands-on experience before applying to PA school, medical school, or nursing school. If you are one of these, this program is for you. Once hired, residents will receive on-the-job training in the MA standardized skill set, will also be assigned a preceptor, and then they will rotate through a variety of ambulatory clinics to maximize your exposure to clinical experience and as well as patient experience. Throughout the course of the year, individuals that are in this program will be offered to have the opportunity to attend lunch and learns on a variety of multidisciplinary topics and to have a few shadow days in areas of interest in other clinics. And lastly, I just can't state enough that it is a really rewarding opportunity for anybody that decides to join our team of medical assistants here at Tufts Medical Center. These are just a few of the 160 plus medical assistants that we have currently employed here on site. And as you can see, they are quite happy. They like their job, they are well, they're respected, and they're just fabulous. Thank you. And Nikisha, you're on mute.
Thank you, Gina. I hope everyone found the information about the MAP program very informative. Again, if you have any questions throughout, please do pop it into the Q&A box and we will have some time to answer those questions at the end. Our second presenter is Mark Solinsky, and he is a pharmacy resident here at Tufts Medical Center. Today, he will discuss the Pharmacy Technician Development Program. Welcome, Mark.
Thank you, Nikisha. I really appreciate the introduction. Like she said, I'm a pharmacy resident within the pharmacy department here at Tufts and a member of the leadership team. And I'm so excited to share some details about our program and a program that we started in 2018, all around the goal of trying to develop and grow our pharmacy technicians. It's exciting because at this stage of our development program, we've seen people really advance from the different technician levels that I'll show you. But I wanted to give a little bit of detail about our department, and I wanted to start by sharing our vision statement. And so our vision within the Tufts Medical Center Department of Pharmacy are to provide expertise around medications. And we're really accountable for our medication therapy outcomes. And that's across the different roles that we have. Technicians and pharmacists all contribute in different ways. And that's because we're all trying to collaborate to have the best care experience for our patient every time that they come through our doors or every time they interact with our pharmacy services. And this, typically pharmacy can be perceived as your retail pharmacy in the community. But our department really encompasses the whole patient journey. That includes, when a patient comes into the hospital and is going through an acute illness, we've got a large team that supports their process of getting back to their home. We have a robust outpatient service. Many specific conditions and diseases are treated at Tufts Medical Center. And we really rely on our technicians to support those type of patients through medication access, medication affordability, supporting adherence programs that we have. And so you can see throughout ambulatory, acute care, outpatient, we have a lot of opportunities for technicians to get involved and find a place that fits their lifestyle and their career interests. And I would actually like to share some of the different teams that we have. And I'll start with our specialty pharmacy service team. And they're really a special team because they're managing some of our really most sick patients. If you go back one more slide, this team is managing patients that are on very costly medications or medications that have very specific requirements. What's really important in the role of a technician, that they're adding value to our patients by making sure that the medications are affordable. Patients all the time have very tough time navigating insurance coverage, but our technicians are experts in this. They dealing with insurance and benefits claims all the time and have the skills and expertise to make medications affordable. In our infusion center, we have a team of technicians that are really championing the production of these medications that are life-saving or life-preserving for our patients. Within our outpatient pharmacy, this is an environment that's more fast-paced, your typical retail setting. In this area, we're looking for people that are very reliable and can navigate insurance, troubleshooting, inventory management, and some simple compounding. And our central pharmacy team is composed of two groups. One that's the team-based technicians. This team-based technicians are responsible for the many floors that we treat patients on. So it's always making sure medications are delivered in a timely fashion, in an accurate fashion to our nursing colleagues to make sure they're administered correctly. And we also rely on our technicians in our sterile products area, gaining expertise around sterile compounding. We treat a lot of very young patients in our children's hospital, so making sure we make specific doses for these small patients, and we rely on our sterile products team heavily for that. And really the goal of our program is to provide a framework for technicians to really understand the skills that they need, the steps that they should take, and the qualifications necessary to advance within our department and to advance where we need help in our department. And what we really believe is that our Department of Pharmacy can provide a variety of roles and responsibilities that let technicians grow within our teams, but also to assume positions that they find value added to their personal life and to their career aspirations. So for example, some of our technicians are pursuing degrees outside of the department. And many times we try to line up people that are interested in business. We've got roles that are more business analysts. Some of the opportunities when we think of contracting that we work with. So we can involve the skill sets that they're trying to develop as part of their education to what they do day to day for us at Tufts. Our development program it starts with a technician 1 level, but it actually begins before that in a tech trainee position that is a training period of about 500 hours that provides the good baseline before a technician enters into our development program. But once they do, really the requirements are registration with our Board of Pharmacy within the Commonwealth and just interest in the profession in general and helping out patients and providing high quality care. Progression to Tech 2 is just showing that you're accountable, professional, and able to take on some of the skill sets that we have taught in the Technician 1 level. As someone progresses to Tech 3, they're taking on some quality improvement projects. They might be leading some initiatives while also demonstrating that they've been highly accountable and professional throughout their time with us. And they start to also incorporate some of the training back to the lower level technicians and giving back and making sure people that enter our program are well supported. And finally, Technician 4 is a level that we really look for leaders within this technician program, individuals that naturally like to guide our technicians into what is priority for the day, provide responsibilities like our schedule, council work. We can do more of those quality improvement projects within this group as well. And so as you can see throughout the different stages of our development program, we've got a lot of opportunities for growth, a lot of opportunities that translate well for people in their long-term career goals. And it's really exciting to see some of the technicians that started out in these lower levels progress over their time with Tufts and move into places within the department that they find interesting and where they find some value.
All right. Thank you so much, Mark, for giving us an overview of the Pharmacy Technician Development Program. So far, we have heard from Gina Marie, who discussed the MAP program at Tufts and also our pharmacy technician development program. Our third and final presenter is Julie Sherman. Julie is an Associate Chief Nursing Officer here at Tufts Medical Center. Today, she will discuss the entry points to our clinical care technician role. Welcome, Julie.
Thank you, Nikisha, and hello, everybody, and thank you very much for being here. I'm so excited to join with you for a few moments this afternoon to speak with you about our program here at Tufts. And we call our this position a clinical care technician, but you may have heard of this in this role. It depends on where you happen to be. Sometimes this role is called a CNA, Certified Nursing Assistant, a licensed care technician. There are many names for it, but at Tufts Medical Center, our CCTs are our Certified Nursing Assistants. And in their role, they work under the supervision of a professional nurse to help provide care for patients. So unlike the program that Gina just presented, which is direct patient care as well for medical assistants, our CCTs are housed primarily on the inpatient side or in procedural areas. So they're caring for the sick, acute patients that are hospitalized. So can you go to the next slide and then we'll start, okay. So what the CCTs do is they work very closely with the nurses to deliver care to our patients at their most timely need. And when I'm interviewing CCTs for this position, I always highlight how important this role is to the patients, because I'll tell you, when I would round on the floors and I would talk to the patients, the first thing they tell me is how much their CCT is so beloved and cares for them so well, because they care for patients at their most vulnerable, right? The physicians are coming into the room and talking about diagnoses, and the nurses are passing meds and talking about teaching and educating, etc. But it's the CCT that's really caring for the patients when they can't do for themselves, really helping them understand on a personal level how they can help that patient, and they are forever ingrained into the patient's mind. So it is such a valuable role, and one that is very important to the patient's whole experience while they're in the hospital. At Tufts Medical Center, we have different levels of CCTs that work here. We have our core techs who have chosen this as their career. So they have chosen to work very closely and assist patients at the bedside, and this is the path that they have chosen. We also have student nurses who are in the process of actually going to nursing school and trying to gain valuable experience caring for patients while they're attending their schoolwork. And then we also have some CCTs that just know they want to be in the medical field, but they don't know what they want to do in the medical field. So we have developed this a tech residency program, which that will be the first program I will speak to you about. So CCTs entry level into Tufts come in the three forms: CCT resident, student nurse, and our core professional CCTs. So if we go to the next slide, that will talk, this is our CCT resident program. And as you can see, we have a couple members of our team here that were posing for pictures for us, which we were happy for. But how the CCT resident program works is that it is an 18-month program in which we will have you come in and we will do special training with you to get you up and running to be able to care for the sickest of the sick patients, correct? So what we ask is that the CCT residents, for qualifications, there is no experience required to enter into this level. But what you do need to have is a CNA license. So maybe it's a CNA license and you passed the class, but you haven't worked yet. Or you're a medical assistant and you decided that you want to work inpatient to gain that inpatient knowledge. Maybe you're at an EMT or your associate degree or bachelor's degree prepared post schooling. You want to go into the medical field, but you don't know what you want to do in the medical field. What a perfect way to get exposure to all diseases and case types, to really understand what it is you want to do when you get into that field. So when you come to work with us, We will train you. We start off with a 6-week training program in which you're paired up with a preceptor and you work inpatient, caring for patients, and you learn how to care for all the different aspects of patient care. We do have opportunities in our emergency department, our med-surg areas, our ICUs, and our procedural areas, as well as pediatrics and perinatal. We are a academic medical center in the heart of Boston, and we offer many programs to our patients. So there's plenty of opportunities for you to get in there and learn with the best of the best. We have a couple of other opportunities too, which some people want exposure to as much as possible. So they may get hired to a core unit or hired to a float pool. And in the float pool, you're trained to go all over the hospital and meet all kinds of people and patients and learn the most that you can. So that's our entry-level CCT residency program. Again, no experience required, but you do have to have some of those specialty certifications or post a bachelor's or associate's degree to come in and work under us under that program. We do, just going back to the CCT resident, one other thing I just wanted to highlight too was that we offer, because you're in a learning phase, right? This is entry level, this is new. We do offer monthly lecture series in which you will attend at your will, not required, but what's the life of a PA student or a PA that works at Tufts? So what's it like to be a physician at Tufts Medical Center? What is it like to be a nurse practitioner, a nurse? How do all exposure to all areas of the medical center? So we offer you up that type of information. And then we also offer shadowing opportunities so that you can get as much exposure as you want still while working and caring for patients. So then our second entry level here, this is our student nurse program, and we have a very long-standing history of hiring student nurses at Tufts Medical Center with great success. So actually, if you're looking to go into nursing, this is definitely something that I would highly recommend, because becoming a student nurse really prepares you for a great career as a nurse and a novice nurse, because you learn everything I just explained to you before about caring for patients at their most vulnerable, but also prepares you for what's it like to work at the hospital, what's it like to balance a heavy patient assignment and care for patients. So this really has been very successful. We have a lot of our nurses that are currently employed at Tufts Medical Center working as professional nurses after they graduated from school. In this role, the student nurses do function in the CCT role. So it's not a practicum from school or anything like that. You're actually working, getting paid and working as a CCT. Getting exposure to all the areas what I just explained to in the residency program, and also hired into the same areas as all CCTs in the hospital. So you could be hired into the endoscopy suite, or the post anesthesia recovery room, or maybe the medical intensive care unit, or you want to work in pediatrics or with our adult complex med surg. So those opportunities are all available to you. And we also have summer and winter break options. So let's say, for example, you're a student nurse and you go to school out of state, but you come home, your family's here in Boston or local, and you want to come home for the summer and work, but you can't commit to time in the school year. We will take you in for the summer and train you up on the different units, develop your relationships there. And then when you go back to school, and you can focus on your schoolwork. And then what happens after that, you're home in the winter break, you want to make a little bit of money, come back, we're happy to take you back again. For a student nurse to be hired into this particular job category, you have to be enrolled in an accredited nursing program. And one thing I did want to say too is that you have to be willing, because it is inpatient, working weekends, holidays, and rotating to all different shifts. Okay, so the final track, so we have our residency program, our student nurse, and the final one is our CCT program, which is really, this is your core CCTs. These are the the professionals that have chosen this as their career. And what we require for this is, because this is our highest level coming in, is that you do have experience when you come in on this level. Now, you may not have the certification, that's preferred but not required. But what we do look for is maybe you're coming from a rehab, or you're coming from a nursing home. So you have that experience of caring for patients, yet you're looking for something different, a challenge. You want to work with acute care. You want to work with trauma patients. You want to see what else is out there. So to come into this role, you do have experience when you're coming in. You do work alongside the professional nurse as part of the care team caring for patients, and you can gain all these new skills that maybe you didn't have at your other job. What we do offer in this role is, once you're in this and you've been working in it, is opportunities for lattice, very similar to what Gina spoke to. We have leadership development. We would like to try to work on skill development. Maybe you want to become certified in something, or maybe you want to learn a certain skill like EKGs or phlebotomy or something like that. We could work with you on that. Additionally, we ask that at this level too, and you're coming in and you have a lot to offer to patients, we would like you to sit on our council, or we would like you to join a quality committee. You know, we have a very robust falls prevention team here. The CCT on that committee is the most valuable, because they're the ones that work very closely with the patient. So we want that type of involvement from our CCTs sitting on all of our quality care committees. We do offer tuition reimbursement, and we do require that all of our CCTs work rotating shifts, weekends and holidays, because as I said, this is inpatient. So it's 24/7 and the care doesn't stop on the nights of the weekends. For this, just to recap, high school diploma is required. Current certified nursing assistant certification is preferred but not required. And you do have to have experience when coming into this, because this is really where we see our core staff that really are the heart of everything that we do here. So with that, that's all I have to present for those 3 tracks. I'm excited to take some questions from anybody who has any to offer. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Julie. And we do have quite the amount of questions that have come in. So I'm so glad to see that everyone was listening and there are questions. So I do have some questions for our presenters. And so the first question that I will ask the group is, what is the application process to apply to the 12-month MA residency program for people interested in gaining more clinical experience? And is this an unpaid internship?
Thank you, Nikisha. The MA residency program, we are hoping to get our application started in July, and the application would be evidence of a bachelor's prepared program, and it is a paid internship residency program. What was the other part of the question? I'm sorry. Multiple parts.
It was a 2-part. You answered about the application process, about the 12-month MA residency program, and they wanted to know, is it an unpaid internship?
So the MA residency is paid as well, and the plan is to offer that program twice a year because it is a specialized program as opposed to the regular the medical assistants in the extern program. So it would be offered twice a year. We'll be accepting applications, and the first group is looking to be accepted in July for a September start date.
Wonderful. Thank you, Gina. In addition, there's a question, how can I apply to the student nurse program? I would like to say all of our positions are online at jobs.tuftsmedicalcenter.org. And so you can apply there for the student nurse program. As Julie mentioned, here at Tufts, it's called the Clinical Care Technician, so CCT. So you can use the search box, or you can just look for the Clinical Care Technician roles. We also have another question that came in as well. Are there options for the CCT residency to work in labor and delivery, mother infant units, or NICU? Julie, would you like to answer that question for us?
Yep, I sure would. Now, keeping in mind that We are a smaller academic medical center in Boston, so we don't have as many floors, but we do offer that. So we have our labor and delivery. We do have our NICU, which is actually a 40-bed NICU, and we do hire CCTs there. Now, because it's not like med surg where there are, 8 or 9 different floors for that, the opportunities are less because there's not that many, but we do hire, and they're very successful in those roles there, and a very important member of the care team. So mother infant unit, labor and delivery, NICU, yes.
Wonderful, wonderful. Thank you so much. A question has come in. When should we apply for the medical assistance program?
So the applications should go online. So they'll be posted on the jobs website along with the CCT and the pharmacy tech positions. Hopefully in July, they should go up.
Wonderful. Okay, perfect. There was a question that came in regarding the current nursing openings. I would like to say we have a variety of nursing openings from a variety of different floors, from med-surg, ICU, critical care. So again, I do believe that the link is in the chat box. So that is jobs.tuftsmedicalcenter.org. So you can explore all of our opportunities, including our nursing opportunities at that website. There have been several questions submitted. Our next question here is from a recent grad from Tufts University. They just graduated with their bachelor's degree in biology, and they're looking to spend a couple of years in the healthcare field to gain some clinical experience before going to medical school. What are some pieces of advice for someone like them that they can gain an opportunity, learn and grow in the healthcare field before medical school? They have limited lab and research experience. Is there an opportunity that would be a match for this type of person?
Yep, I'll take this one and Gina can finish it because yes and yes. For this, gaining that valuable acute care inpatient experience and caring for patients, as I had said before, is a wonderful opportunity. It gives you your hours that are required to do that, whether it be PA or medical school. And it also just gives you an opportunity to be exposed to the different areas of the medical center on the inpatient acute care side to better prepare you to be a better physician. And I will say that we have had several techs come in that route, and boy, do they make good doctors. Very nice. So, and Gina, I know you have opportunities outpatient as well.
Right. Ideally, it would be a nice way to be able to combine the inpatient and outpatient, especially if you're looking to do medical school. So I think that for this individual, I think the best opportunity would be the one that's going to help him gain the most patient experience in the direction that he wants to head into, whether he wants to be a primary care physician or if he wants to be, like an ICU attending or something. So I think that he can look at the opportunities that are available. Either way, I think that with the programs that are set up between the MA residents and the CCT residency program, that there is some flexibility going forward in the future, looking at some innovative ideas to be able to broaden our opportunities for the residents, whether they are MAs or CCTs.
Awesome. Along the same lines, someone has asked, are there openings for admin assistants, non-patient facing roles?
I can take that one, and I'm sure Julie can take that one as well. Yes, there are. In the ambulatory, they are currently called practice coordinators. So those would be your admins at the front desk. Those would be your registration individuals. Also, some of them are expanding into becoming helping with the prior authorizations with the pharmacy and other types of areas. There is a program out there that's a medical administrative assistant. That would also be somebody that would be eligible to come in to do the registration and administrative work in an ambulatory setting. And I can let Julie and Mark talk about their areas.
Yeah, if you're looking for an inpatient experience, we call them unit coordinators here, but I'm sure any other hospital they're called something different, but they really are the heart and soul and run the operations on the inpatient units, answering the phones, greeting patients and family, triaging a lot, entering orders. So if you're interested in inpatient, there are plenty weekends, holidays, off shifts, a lot of opportunities for that.
And I'll just highlight, what comes to mind for within the pharmacy department. We have plenty of non-patient facing roles that are still super important because, like I mentioned with the medication access and prior authorizations, like Gina mentioned, we require a lot of expertise from our technicians. And, these roles tend to fit people's personal lives, having good hours during the week, Monday through Friday. And we also have roles that are more quality improvement and quality assurance on our inpatient side. And so those roles, it's kind of unique where you're not necessarily right in front of the patient, but you are providing value in a different way. So it's kind of cool that we have that opportunity within all of our programs, it seems like.
Thank you, Mark, Julie, and Gina. Is there a set salary range for the CCT residency program? Does past experience impact this? And I certainly can take this. As the clinical talent acquisition manager, I will say that experience does impact salary. So if you have experience and you're coming in as a core CCT, you will certainly be compensated for your experience. The CCT role does start about approximately $18 an hour. So that would be where you would be starting. And then of course, depending on your experience, go up from there. Yep. All right. We have another question that has come in. What do you recommend for a current undergraduate student who is pre-PA but not enrolled in a nursing program and who doesn't have previous clinical experience, but who is looking to begin their clinical experience at Tufts in preparation for PA school?
So just speaking from an inpatient perspective too, I think that this has come up that there are students in school currently that are looking for that experience. So there are a couple of ways in which you can do it. Is you can obtain one of those degrees that we had talked about. So upon your graduation, apply to the residency program. I would recommend that as probably the best way to go get your hours in as you prepare to apply to PA school. There is opportunity, if you can do it during school, to obtain one of the EMT certification or CNA certification and then apply while you're still in school. I think that might be kind of tough to go full-time in school and do this, but if you're up for it, you would have the qualifications to become a CCT resident, and you could actually work as a CCT while you're going to school. At least that's from my perspective here. How about Gina or Mark? What do you think?
Yeah, I would add, my sister's actually a PA, and I know one of her classmates took the pharmacy route, and they understood, their role as a PA were going to be around medications and prescribing medications for their patients. So they took the angle. They wanted to get exposure to those type of medications that are really the core things used within a hospital. So if you want to take that route, certainly opportunities exist within pharmacy as well.
And the same with the medical assistants. I don't think you could go wrong with hitting any one of the routes because I think that they all will add value to being a PA down the road. I think that a combination of them coming in, while you're in school, maybe a pharmacy tech, and then and that way, not having to go through becoming a medical assistant or a CNA. If you come in as a pharmacy tech, you can gain that invaluable experience and then move into one of the other roles as you get your feet planted into the organization. I mean, we do like to retain our employees and offer them growth within the organization. So I don't think you could go either way, wrong in any direction that you went. And if a combination of them, I think that will only enhance your ability as a PA down the road.
Agree.
We had a few questions come in about the competitiveness of certain programs. One question is, how many applicants would be accepted for both residencies? So that's the CCT Residency Program as well as the MA Residency. Gina, would you like to go first?
So since July will be September will be our first one, we're looking to accept 5. Our goal is to take 10 twice per year. I know the CCT residents take a larger number. I'll let Julie speak to that, but we are piloting this in the ambulatory arena. So our goal for September would be to take 5.
And for a CCT resident, excuse me, we onboard approximately every 8 weeks for CCT resident programs. And I would say, Nikisha, what like usually 10 to 15 per session is a rough estimate, but every 8 weeks we're onboarding and running that program.
Yep, wonderful. And as far as the novice nurse program, there was a question that came in about how hard is it for a new graduate nurse to get hired with no experience at Tufts?
So I'm assuming that they haven't worked as a CNA or a CCT before. It's tough. I'm not gonna lie to you. It working as a CCT or a CNA prior to becoming a nurse only makes you a better nurse. And I feel that if you were up against someone that had that may be difficult, difficult to compete with. That being said, though, there are certain areas that are difficult to recruit for. So it's not that it's not that it's impossible, but it does, having that experience prior really does set you up for success as a nurse.
Mm-hmm. Wonderful. This webinar is really discussing about careers post-pandemic, and today we have chosen to focus on the entry-level positions. Question has come in regarding the health and safety of healthcare workers at Tufts Medical Center. How would each of you describe what you're doing to keep your employees safe in your various departments and the roles there at Tufts?
That's a great question. I'll start.
Okay.
Really good question. So it's not only the health and safety, but also the mental well-being, right? That we're very, very much attuned to as well. This has been very challenging for everybody. So speaking to the actual skills required to care for patients, right? I mean, you're caring for some really sick patients here. So every employee goes through training and onboarding, and they pass a competency to actually to work, and they're not free to work on their own until they complete that competency. And that competency does include infectious disease prevention, how to put on PPE, how to care for patients when they're sick and at their most vulnerable, how do I protect myself and others in the unit. So that all that training happens with our infectious disease colleagues. You get, not only do you get knowledge, but you get checked off on skills for that. So we do that. We also are very concerned with how everyone is handling, like how are they dealing with everything, the sickness, the sadness, the joy. I mean, the range of emotions goes everywhere, right? So we have chaplains that we partner with who are invaluable at the medical center that really help. They work on the units, they get to know the staff. We have debriefs. We try to do as much of Reiki therapy and try to do some integrative therapies for staff while they're during their shift. I'll give a quick example. We have a floor that has rolled out something called a code lavender, which is something that if you have a patient that day and you had a very stressful day and you're not, and one of your colleagues recognizes that you're struggling with that, they call a code lavender, which is almost like a code blue. And that's where your colleagues will come, they support you, you get this little bag with some little goodies, little things to help relax, and you go to a quiet room and you take a few minutes for yourself because maybe you just need that time to do that. And then lastly, I'll just speak to the Tufts Children's Hospital has brought on a new member of our team, and his name is Bob, and Bob is our therapy dog. And the Tufts Children's Hospital has started it there and then has expanded it to the entire medical center. And Bob is available to everybody. And I don't know about you, Mark and Gina, but a little therapy with Bob, everybody feels good after that. So it is definitely on top of our mind, safety, both physical and mental. But I'll pass it off to Gina and Mark if you had anything to add.
Yeah, safety. So having been in the overseeing the COVID testing clinic and then moving into the vaccination clinic, it was really scary when this started. And it was being able to address first my fears and then being able to help my staff members underneath me be able to address theirs, because we're being put in a situation as healthcare workers to care for patients. And Julie had a much higher level of acuity with her patients, but in the outpatient, we never knew which patient was coming in that was positive for COVID. And we're quick to forget how bad those lines were for testing and how busy it was and how stressful it was, and it was scary. So there was a lot of team building. There was a lot of internal support for staff members. There were a lot of free lunches, a lot of coffee, a lot of encouragement for self-care, taking some time off, taking a break, knowing that standing there testing for long hours of a day can be really tiring. So it was a large part of team building and being there for one another and encouraging people to take the time and to take a break, and self-regulating and self-monitoring our PPE, making sure that if you saw somebody becoming lax with their PPE, that they were not becoming lax, speaking up, not being afraid to say, hey, you need to wear your PPE mask, you need to wear your N95, we're in the testing center. So holding each other accountable for our own personal safety and for the safety of the rest of the team. Bob does come and visit us frequently. He did in the early days when he came around just to kind of stop in. So it was definitely a team approach. We made it through, and happier days are on the horizon. But as Julie said, the toll of what people went through over the last 18 months, debriefing. We're spending a lot of time now in the vaccination center, debriefing and talking about, oh my God, do you remember that day where there was eight blocks of patients standing outside in the snow waiting to be tested? So I think a lot of that is very therapeutic to the staff, and remembering we didn't go through this alone, we went through this together, and we came out on the other side, that we are resilient and we made it.
Absolutely. Thank you, Gina. I agree. Happier days are coming. Along the same lines, we had a question come in about, is it the safest time to make a change in healthcare? And I'd love to hear your opinions on that question as well. This person has just graduated with their MBA in healthcare, and they've been holding off and looking for employment. So what words of encouragement would you have for that person?
I say jump in. I say that coming back off of the pandemic, I think this is an opportunity for change. It's an opportunity to be better. And I think that opportunities are out there. I say go for it. Find an avenue to get yourself in and jump. You never know where it's going to lead you.
And I would just add, I think about how Tufts integrates within Wellforce, our parent organization, and all the opportunities that our collaboration across the different hospitals that are in our system are opening. It's just not, there's no better time within our organization because of those opportunities that are opening up.
Mark, I agree 100%. And I feel like no time like the present. I mean, if you really want to make a difference and have a job that is meaningful and you feel like you impact somebody every day in a positive way, yes, go for it. It is scary time. However, I feel extremely safe. Our hospital, as well as everybody really, has done a great job with protecting staff and making sure that everybody is well. And like Gina says, jump.
Awesome. Well, we have about 10 minutes left, and there are just a couple of questions left. This would be your last opportunity. If you haven't asked a question just yet, please do pop it into the Q&A box. One question has come in from the audience, and that is, I'm graduating as an RN in August and want to work in oncology. Do you think it's important to work on a general med surg floor first, or can they specialize right away? What would be your opinion on this?
Well, I'll
Julie,
take, I'll take
yours.
this. I'll take
all
this
yours,
one,
Julie.
because I am 31 years into oncology nursing. So I love oncology nursing. So my recommendation for that is that if you know that's what you truly want, then go for it, because a lot of oncology inpatient units, if you get real specialized with bone marrow transplant, that is very specialized. However, inpatient units now really are an oncology / med-onc, so that they do have a cancer diagnosis, but they have so many complications related to therapy that the patients have multi-system failure. You get to see everything, kidney, heart, lungs, skin, sepsis. It is really, you are exposed to a lot. Having med-surg experience is a plus, I think, but it's not totally not doable. And I hire all the time nurses brand new into oncology. You just have to want it. It's not something you try on because it's such a long commitment to get trained and get certified, etc. But yeah, if that's your passion, then I would go for it.
Wonderful. I have a few specific questions here. One comes from an individual that is a former APRN midwife, and now they're an RN, master's prepared. They've recently completed an RN refresher program just before the COVID shutdowns, and they currently want to work as a nurse now. They're not sure how to categorize their past experience, and they want to move forward with a nursing position. Would it be appropriate with their experience, 15 years as a nurse midwife and 15 years as an RN, to obtain a new grad RN position?
Gina,
Or would,
go ahead, Gina.
I'm going to say no, because you've retained more. I'm going to say no. I think because you're not giving yourself enough credit for what you've experienced, because nursing isn't just about what you learn in school and book smart, but it's also about what you bring as far as life experiences. So once you get back into the setting, I think that a lot more is going to come to the forefront of your past experience and be beneficial and help you move yourself forward into whatever area you want to. So novices are typically those brand new, less than 1 year, straight out of school, bachelor's prepared students, and I mean new nurses that they don't have that experience. They may have life experience, but they don't have that background experience. So I'm going to say no. What do you think, Julie?
Yep, I agree with you. And even if you were looking to pursue not in women's health, right? Say you have your background in women's health, and you wanted to try something new, I still think that would be good, because you will draw on those life experiences and those experiences when you were in that role. So I agree, Gina.
wonderful. And then our last question, I will say, would be is someone's currently in HR, they're an experienced worker, and they want to switch to the medical field, either as a caseworker or a patient advocate. Would any of the positions that we discussed here today be appropriate for that individual?
Yeah, well, I would say yes. I think at least in the CCT role, and Mark and Gina for sure, you can jump in, but you're advocating for your patients every day. So depending on what you're looking for, as a patient advocate, CCTs advocate for their patients every day. They speak up for them. They talk about what's best for them. They work as a member of the team, talk to the physicians, the nurses, etc. So I would say yes. A caseworker, if you're thinking about a social worker, that's a completely different track. I'm not sure what that is, but that would be not part of this, no.
I think, again, this kind of goes back to the medication access. I think really some of those positions within our ambulatory and outpatient team and coordinating, making sure the medication is received by the patient, that they feel comfortable and understand how do they take their medication, working hand in hand with our clinical pharmacists, with nurses in the ambulatory clinic, and then the doctor in the clinic. I think this would be a role for that type of individual.
Yeah, I agree, Mark. I think that it's so difficult to navigate healthcare, so difficult. And especially in pharmacy, the pharmacy techs are integral to making sure there's adherence for patients and just help navigate the financial troubles that you might have as well. So, yeah.
Right.
So I agree. I think that probably of the three roles, I think probably the most suited one for your background would be somewhere in the pharmacy tech role, advocating, helping with the prior auth, advocating through insurance, because it's really difficult with insurance. I think that of the three roles with your background, I think that in that area, in that realm, care coordination, advocation is probably the best suited for you.
Wonderful. And I had one last question sneak in here. What are the opportunities available for new nursing graduates? Of course, I have to plug the Novice Nurse Program. We are currently interviewing for new RN graduates. So please do get out there and apply. Again, the website is jobs.tuftsmedicalcenter.org. So if you haven't had an opportunity to apply to the website, or even just check out the various roles that we discussed today, I would encourage each and every person to go to the website and learn more. At this time, I'd like to close the webinar and just thank everyone for joining. Thank you, panelists, for sharing your expertise and information. And I hope that the audience members have found this session very informative. Thank you so much.
Thank you.